Look at her, walking among us again. Hasn't she suffered enough to know her place?
It is a shame, but the law is clear.
Have there been moments in life when you felt rejected and abandoned by the people you trust so much? When the world forgets your name and silence becomes your home? Maybe you've been there, where prayers feel unanswered and hope seems too far away from you.
My strength is gone, Abba. Look upon my misery and do not forsake me.
Where every day feels like a battle between faith and despair. But what if I told you, even in your darkest moment, heaven never forgot you? This is the story of a woman the world turned away from. A woman whose body was broken, whose heart was tired, and whose faith was hanging by a thread. For 12 long years, she was called unclean. For 12 years, she lived in the shadows. But one moment, one desperate, trembling touch, changed everything. This isn't just her story. It's a story for anyone who's ever been rejected, forgotten, or broken.
Just one touch.
Because what she found that day wasn't just healing. It was love, mercy, and a reminder that faith, even when it trembles, still moves the heart of God today. So stay with me to the end of this story, because somewhere in her miracle, you might just find your own.
Thank you, my Lord.
Long ago, in the small towns of Galilee, when the morning sun moved across the houses, there lived a woman whose name the world forgot. But heaven never did. The Bible tells us about a woman who suffered from bleeding for 12 years. Her sickness made her weak, lonely, and rejected by everyone. According to the law in her time, a woman with constant bleeding was called unclean, meaning she could not touch anyone or be part of public life. Now a certain woman had an issue of blood for 12 years and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. Mark 5:25-26. But when the Bible said she had an issue of blood, it doesn't only mean she was physically bleeding every second. It means her body was constantly losing life and strength, like something inside her was always draining her energy, leaving her weak and hopeless. For 12 long years, her life was wrapped in pain and silence. Day after day, her blood did not stop flowing from her body. Her body grew weaker, her strength fading fast. She was known only by her suffering, the woman with the issue of blood. She once had hope. When will my healing come? Sometimes she heard of healers, men who promised cures, but it comes with a price, a silver coins. Then she decided to try her luck. Maybe perhaps she could be healed. She walked slowly into a crowded courtyard, her sandals worn out from many journeys.
She should hide her face in shame.
You seek a cure, but do you have the coin? Healing requires faith and payment.
A healer looked at her and said, "Sit down, woman. We'll see what can be done, but it will cost you." She nodded quietly and handed him the last coins she had. He gave her bitter herbs to drink. She drank, but her pain only grew worse. She had spent all she had on promises, but nothing worked. Only more pain and more shame. The next morning she walked through the market. People filled the streets,
Still warm from
laughing,
the oven.
buying.
Look out, coming
But when she
through.
passed, Everything
Be
went
careful,
quiet.
children.
Whispers followed her. "She's unclean," someone said.
Unclean.
"She should not be
She
here.
should not be here.
Drive
Look
her
at
away."
walking among us
The
again.
woman pulled her
It
veil
is
over
a
her
shame,
face,
but the Lord
hiding
is
her
clear.
tears.
Walk
In her
in
world, sickness meant loneliness. No touch, no
She should
welcome,
hide her
no
face in
love.
shame.
At night she sat alone in her small home. A tiny oil lamp stood beside her. She tried to pray, but her voice broke in tears. She had no husband to comfort her, no friend to visit her.
My strength is gone, Abba. Look upon my misery and do not forsake me.
And every morning she wondered, will I live to see another day? But even in her weakness, a small spark of hope still lived within her. A whisper of faith that refused to die. Every place she went, she heard the same answer. No one can help you. For 12 long years, she carried her pain and burden alone, with no one to help her. 12 years of rejection, 12 years of silence. But still, she walked on, because somewhere deep inside her, she believed her story wasn't over yet. She was broken by time and blood,
She should keep herself
but she was
isolated.
walking toward the
Poor
one
thing.
whose
But we must
touch would
protect
end
our
her
families.
sorrow forever.
We'll see what can be done,
Doctors
but
promised to
nothing
heal
comes
her,
without a price.
but all they could do is to leave her poorer and weaker than before. Every coin she had was gone. Every hope had slipped away through her fingers.
Look at her,
Wherever she went,
again.
people turned away. They whispered when she passed by, afraid to be near her. The laws of her people called her unclean. She could not go to the temple. She could not touch another person. She could not be held or comforted or be loved by someone. Loneliness became her closest friend. Pain became her teacher. And silence became her prison.
Gone, Abba.
Still, she searched for a cure.
Upon my misery.
From one healer to another, from one promise to the next. She tried them all, but none could offer her a cure. She drank bitter herbs, swallowed strange mixtures, followed rituals that only brought her more pain. Her body trembled from weakness. Her spirit was exhausted, and her pockets were empty. She sold everything she owned, her clothes, her jewelry, her last piece of bread, just to hear someone say, "You will be well." But the healing never came. All that remained was dust, and a small faith she thought had died long ago. One night in a quiet room, she lay on the floor. Tears rolled down from her face as her shaking hand reached toward the light. She wondered if God still saw her, if he still cared. But somewhere deep inside, her faith, though small, refused to die. Then one morning, everything changed. She heard voices rising from the street.
No.
Excited, joyful
must try.
voices calling a name
Just
she had
one
never heard for a long time. Jesus of Nazareth. They said he healed the sick. They said he touched the untouchable. They said blind eyes opened and lepers walked
Will I
free.
ever be
The
clean?
words reached her heart like a spark of hope
Could it
in the
be
dark.
that
For the first time in 12 years,
he would care
she
for her
felt
too?
something she had not felt in a long time: hope. She began to remember the stories. The cripple who stood, the leper made whole, the woman whose sins were forgiven. Each story stirred something inside
Could
her
it be
soul. Could it be true? Could there be a healer
care
who
for
saw
her
her too? A small faith began to rise, trembling, fragile but alive. It whispered within her heart,
If I could just touch
if I could
him,
only reach him,
even the edge
if I
of
can
his
just
robe.
touch his clothes, I will be healed. Faith was returning. It wasn't loud or proud, but it was simple. And though her body was still
If I
weak,
could just touch
her
his
spirit
clothes.
began to move.
If
She stood
I
up,
can but
wrapped
touch
her old
his
veil
garment,
around herself,
I
and began to
shall
walk
be
toward the sound of
made
the crowd.
whole.
Each
How
step
can I
hurt.
keep going?
Every breath was heavy.
Will I
But
ever
something
be
stronger
clean?
than pain was calling her forward. Through the narrow streets, through the noise
must
and the
try.
crowd, she walked, trembling, but determined. The years of suffering had not destroyed her completely.
No.
Something
I
deep
must
inside
try.
her refused
Just
to
one
give up.
touch.
She did not know what awaited her ahead,
No.
but the healer she
I
had
must
only heard
try.
about
Just
was
one touch.
closer than she could ever imagine.
How can I keep going?
The next day the sun rose over Capernaum,
Will I
and the
ever
streets
be
were
clean?
full of noise. People rushed from every corner. Word had spread fast. Jesus of Nazareth was coming. Crowds filled the roads, men and women pressing close, hoping to see the man who healed the sick and opened eyes of the blind. In the middle of all this excitement stood one fragile woman, hidden under her veil. Her body was weak from years of suffering. For 12 long years, she had lived in pain. Her blood would not stop flowing. She had spent all she had on doctors, yet no one could help her. She'd been pushed aside, called unclean, left alone. But that morning, hope walked by. Her heart began to beat faster. She whispered inside herself, "He's here!" Somewhere in that crowd, I must reach him. Her body was weak and her legs was trembling, but her faith
Of
refused
Nazareth?
to die. Inside her mind, fear spoke first. "You don't belong here. They'll see you. They'll reject you." But another voice, quiet and gentle, rose within her. "If I can just touch his robe, even just the edge of his garment, I will be healed." With her last bit of strength, she covered her face and stepped forward. She pushed her through the wall of people, her feet stumbling in the dust. Each step hurt, but she kept going. She had no plan, no strength, only faith. The crowd pressed tighter. Someone pushed her. She fell to her knees. Dust covered her hands and face, but she crawled forward anyway. Every movement was painful. Still, she whispered to herself, "Just a little closer." When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, "If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well." Mark 5:27-28. And then she saw him, through the crowd, through the noise, Jesus, the one whose touch brought life, whose words carried peace. Her heart pounded. She reached out her shaking hand through the crowd, and with one last stretch, her fingers brushed the edge of his robe. And in that single moment, time seemed to stop. A bright, warm light filled her body. Strength flowed where weakness had lived for years. Her pain vanished. The bleeding stopped. She knew it, deep inside. She was healed. For the first time in 12 years, her body was whole. Her spirit was free. Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" But his disciples said to him, "You see the multitude thronging you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" And he looked around to see her who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what had happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction." Mark 5:29-34. Immediately Jesus stopped walking.
Master,
He turned and said,
everyone's
"Who
touching
touched
you."
me?" The crowd was confused. Everyone was pressing close.
Someone
But
touched
Jesus
me.
knew this touch was
I felt
different.
Power go out from
Power
me.
had gone out from him. He looked through the crowd, searching for the one who had reached in faith. The woman froze in fear. She had hoped to remain unseen, but now every eye was on her. She came forward, trembling. Falling to her knees before him, she confessed everything, how she had been bleeding for years, how she had believed that one touch would heal her. And in that silence, Jesus looked at her, not with anger, but with love. He called her daughter, a word she had not heard in a long time. He said, "Your faith has made you well. Go in peace." At that moment, her tears turned into joy. The word unclean was erased from her life forever. She was no longer an outcast, no longer forgotten. She was called daughter, loved, restored, and seen. Those who once avoided her now watched in wonder. They had seen the impossible. Jesus smiled and continued on his way to Jairus' house. But the woman stayed behind, standing tall for the first time in years. She breathed deeply and whispered a quiet thank you to her Lord. Her story was no longer one of suffering, but of faith that refused to die. Faith that reached out and found healing in the hands of Jesus. Because when faith reaches for him, heaven always reaches back. She had touched the hem of his robe, and heaven had touched her heart. For 12 years she had lived in shadows, but now the light had found her. As she walked home, faces that once turned away now watched. Days later, her story began to spread from village to village. People spoke her name again, not with pity, but with wonder. Her testimony became a flame of hope for others who suffered in silence. She had once been the one in need, but now she became a voice of encouragement. She told others, "Don't give up. One touch of faith can change everything." And indeed, it could. Her story still speaks to every heart that has ever suffered, to every soul that has ever felt forgotten, to the one who prays in silence, wondering if heaven still hears. He does. Jesus still walks near those who are broken. And faith, even the smallest trembling kind, still moves his heart. One touch of faith can change everything, because when you reach for Jesus, he always reaches back. The woman once broken by pain became a living story of grace. Her faith made her whole, and her story lives on, a light for all who still believe, because the same Jesus who healed her still heals today. If this story touched your heart today, take a moment to share it, because someone out there needs to hear it too. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, and tell us in the comment section which part of the story spoke to you the most. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, because this is just the beginning. In my next video, we'll step into another powerful moment, another story of faith, hope, and a love that never gives up. Every week, we share stories that remind us, no matter how far you've fallen, no matter how long you've waited, Jesus still sees you, still loves you, and still reaches back. So, stay with us, turn on your notifications, and together, let's keep spreading the light of God, one story at a time.
Bring the grain over here, softly now.
The children are enjoying the sun.
We are finally home.